this is Devin Sizemore, author of Connection Expansion and host of Aces Connection Group. If you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Hey, Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It's Scott Ferguson. And the intro that I have for you right now is he's the epitome of creating relationships. A good friend, Devin Sizemore. He has a few different companies that he's built, but we really get into the humanizing of relationships and how being a person of service and being able to connect people with people actually builds out your network faster than saying, me, what's for me, right? So, and I teach that, I coach it. He comes from a heart-centered service person, man, and it was just a blessing. I apologize in advance for any technical difficulties. I will own it on my end, which is unacceptable, but I do apologize for them. So you definitely, if you're in the networking world or need to learn how to correctly network, break out your notebooks, sit back, relax, smash the subscribe button, please. My sponsors and affiliates absolutely love that. And the like button as well, if you like what Devin has to say, which I know you will. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, the relationship creator, the relationship architect himself, author, coach extraordinaire, Devin Sizemore. Let's level up. Hey, Time to Shine Today podcast. Varsity Squad, welcome back to another powerful edition of the Time to Shine Today podcast with Coach Fergie. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, blessed to be your gap coach, specializing in performance mental conditioning, working with professional and amateur athletes, business leaders, entrepreneurs, entertainers, C-suite, and students to help them bridge their success gap and to live a life of options and not obligations. On this platform, we are stoked to bring you high performers who are not just chasing and attaining success, but redefining it through providing above and beyond service. And squad, strap in, because we are about to dive into the power of true connection. Today's guest isn't just talking about networking, he's redefining it. He's the author of Connection Expansion. You are the connection. You are one connection away from massive success in your life and business. I'm going to do a 2-book giveaway at the end, so make sure you listen to then. And that he is living proof of that statement, from launching a marketing agency straight out of college to building bold consulting businesses, and yes, even opening a cat cafe that gives back. This dude's journey is all about value, vision, and vibing with the right people. But what really sets him apart is he's on a mission to spark 1 million meaningful connections that create real, lasting impact. He's an entrepreneur, community builder, relationship architect. So please welcome to the show, Devin Sizemore. Devin, please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Yeah, I got to go with blue. Although growing up as a kid, it was red. But then I started going to schools where the color was blue. And at my high school, I showed up with some Cincinnati red stuff. My coach cut it off me and said, dude, you got to wear blue. So blue's been beaten into me. I went to a college that's blue, so I got to go with blue.
Where'd you go, Devin?
University of Nevada, Reno.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very cool. And are you from the Midwest because you're wearing a Cincinnati jersey, or what was
no, so one of my cousins used to coach in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he would always send me all the swag, which as a kid growing up in Vegas was great.
Yeah.
But when I got to Reno, all of a sudden, like, my high school was blue, my college was blue, and they're like, no, we're not wearing the red and black. That's not a thing.
Yeah, blue is my jam too. Love it. The ocean right here, it's blue. It's like, I love it. But like you, my high school, like both of our campuses, we had Plymouth Canton and Plymouth Salem. This is in Michigan. And they were both high schools were on the same campus. And you'd actually kind of go back and forth between high schools for classes. But ours was red and white, and they were blue and white. We used to call them the blue flu, right? So it was like, and I was a wrestler. I grew up wrestling since I was 3 years old. And I'd literally have classes. Like, you would be the same weight as me. And I have classes where, like, you and I are going to wrestle at 6 p.m. that night, right? But we're awesome. Hanging out and stuff. So enough about me, man. Let's get to the origins of you, brother. I mean, like, you've did a lot, and you have a heart, like a service-centered heart. And that's what we love here at Time to Shine Today. So love to get to your origin story and see where it all began.
Yeah, I always tell people I love business, man. I came out of the womb and I think I was always hustling, doing something. And so if we go way back as a kid, right, like I like to tell the dog poop story, right? Like I would go pick up dog poop for the neighbors and get paid. And then what I realized as a kid is like, well, wait a second. My friends could go pick up the dog poop. I could charge the neighbor. I could pay my friend $4, keep $1, and I could sit at home. And I went, wait, that's a business, right? And
Right.
so as you scale through junior high and high school, it was painting numbers on curbs, and I had a camera, so doing photography at youth sports and having a little studio and whatever I could do to be entrepreneurial. Like there was this drive that's just always been there.
Right.
Out of college, I jumped straight into the marketing world. So I worked for an agency through college. As soon as I graduated, I launched my own agency. I ended up buying that agency I worked for, which is kind of a cool story. And then we scaled, and then I ended up selling the business to him. So it's kind of
Wow.
like a three-step, what the heck happened moment. And then from there, man, I just explored business, right? So co-working space, manufacturing company, the cat cafe. And through all of that, my consulting agency has always been there. And that's been the thing that's been stable. It's the thing I'm most passionate
Yeah.
about. And 7 years ago, I kind of focused on, look, I don't want to be a generalist. I want to really hone in on my superpower. And then I want to find a way to duplicate and scale that. Because what I found is everybody wants more referrals, but no one knows how to unlock that code. So for 7 years, that's all we've done is figure out what's the language, what's the tempo, how do you follow up, how do you book the meetings, how do you make the connections. And then we packed all that into a book where we hide nothing, we share everything. And that is, as you said, like my core first principle is always add value, right? And
Sure.
so through all these business ventures, that's been my addiction, is like, how do I add value to other people and then turn that into momentum for whatever I'm building?
Wow. So let's get back, just take a step back to you kind of born like hustling. Like I'm the same way. You're like my brother from another mother, probably my much younger brother. But so like my whole thing was I delivered the Detroit Free Press, right? And or Eric Wertman delivered it. He lived two doors down. He's like, I'm giving up. He's going into high school. He's like, I'm giving up the route. And everyone's like, dude, I want your route, because he was making like $19-20 a month, dude. Big cash in 1985, right? So like I'm like, I want it. And they're like, oh, you gotta come to the best deal. So I ended up giving him $5 a month for a year, right? It just came to me, right? But then what I did is I grabbed other territories and started delivering it and gotten friends to help me. So what was that one moment that clicked? You're like, dude, this is it. Like I'm a hustler. I flex my hustle muscle. Like this is it. Like what was that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those moments, really. I'm not sure there's one that stands
Hmm.
out. I would say painting numbers on curbs was kind of the funny one because it's
Okay.
something that friends would look at and be like, ah, you're that's like an outside job. You're getting baked, you're covered in paint,
Right.
whatever. I don't understand why you're doing it. I'm like, well, I worked my high school job, right? And then
Right.
after on the way home, I would swing into a neighborhood with my bucket, I would door knock, and I would paint. And what I realized is I could pull in like 60 to $100 an hour painting
Wow.
numbers on curbs.
Right.
And so all of a sudden I'd come home not only with my day job, but then all of a sudden I'd have $100, $200 cash. And then I'd go out on a Saturday and with my buddy, I was door knocking. I would put an X on the curb. He would paint.
Right.
He would collect the money and I would already be selling the next one. He would just walk down the street and be like, oh, there's the X. Boom. Here's the next one. Shoot him a text. Hey, that's the address. This is it. This is how much we sold it for.
Wow.
And he would go through. And at the end of that Saturday, we did $1,600 in sales in one day.
Right.
And I paid him like not half. I paid him like a third, I think, because he was just painting. I was doing all the getting rejected. And that was kind of, again, another one of those validating moments of like, damn, like there are ways to go out here and generate revenue, provide a service people want and need,
Thank you.
and it
Oh,
works, right? And so
100%.
if you can solve
Yeah.
problems at the right price point, welcome to business, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we do now is, okay, what's the problem? How do we solve it? And how do we price it at a fair
Yeah.
price that we all win?
Right. In squad, that's when we talk about attaining and achieving success through service. That's nothing short of service. He took a problem, solved it, and then becomes kind of like highly sought after that. But you mentioned a superpower. What is your superpower?
My superpower is the innate ability to connect people where it doesn't seem like there's value, but there is a tremendous opportunity that both parties would miss if they weren't connected.
Wow, that is strong. And that is strong. And so you say that we're one connection away from like massive success, right? Can you share the moment in your life where you like said that one connection that you kind of met that really turned that table for you?
Yeah, I've got a bullet point list in the book, and I'll tease a
Oh,
couple, not
nice.
just
Yeah,
mine,
please.
because I
Yeah,
think there's
yeah.
a lot of things that will resonate with people. So I talk about getting a six-figure job without having to interview or compete. I talk about getting the perfect internship, again, without competing for it. So that was in the college phase. I talk about the vacation, right? Like dream vacation where like literally you don't have to pay for barely anything except getting there because you're invited by the right person at the right time.
Right.
Joint sponsorships at events where you're the only sponsor. There are no other sponsors because you found yourself in the right room in the right moment. Integrated JV partnerships. I just made one connection. The guy texted me and said, "Hey, I need you to show up on the next call. We're launching a company now." I'm like, "Bro, I literally just sent an introduction email like 8 days ago. What do you mean you guys are launching a company?" Like it was a perfect fit. It was great timing. Like now we need to talk about it. Like it only takes one. The issue is most people will never get to the one because they're so focused on closing deals and chasing clients and all these very limited, closed-minded things, which is great because you need to generate revenue. But when you have that closed-minded mindset, you miss all these really interesting conversations where you can connect big dots that lead to seven-figure deals, six-figure commissions, new friends, new partnerships, new inner circles, whatever it is available as long as you're curious and you're others focused.
There you go. That's my superpower is curiosity, like 100%. And like I don't teach a networking class, but I do mentor quite a few kids because one thing that my mentor taught me is to never get outworked or out networked. Period. And the way that I've been able to kind of move to South Florida and really ingrain myself here is I really practiced my way of networking as well, where I have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Like I shut up and I really listen. I use the Ford principle, which I teach family, occupation, recreation, dreams. So if I was to meet you at a networking event, I would ask that. My biggest compliment at a networking event for me, now this isn't for everybody, but for me, is when I turn around and walk away, they go, what the hell's that guy got? What does that guy do? But I've already got their business card. I got their address. And if I can't get their address, I'm going to find it. And when I go to my car, I have a stack of thank you cards. Hey, Devin, great to meet you, brother. I think a one-to-one coffee would be fantastic. Let me know when you can. Drop my business card in there and send it. That's just my way of networking, and I blew up with that way. That's the way I did. And I've gotten one-to-one, thousands of dollars worth of coaching clients and stuff like that. So what do you really kind of pour into people to really make sure that they are networking the correct way?
Yeah, a lot of what you just talked about. So one of the core principles we talk about is control what you can control.
Love it.
So often in sales, marketing, networking, you're focused on all these things you can't control. And in fact, you're usually focused on things that limit your ability to have success. And so even from just showing up to the event, right? Pat yourself on the back for getting out of the car, walking in the door, right? Like let's start by giving yourself gratitude and excitement for showing up and performing. And then when you go in the room, your only job is to meet everybody. Like you don't need to screen people. You don't need to try to figure out who's who. Your only job is to do exactly what you did. Shake hands, ask good questions, get their contact information. If they know nothing about you, fantastic. What they will remember about you is you asked good questions and you made them feel heard. That is enough. When you follow up with very similar language to what you used. The language is, hey, Scott, it was great meeting you at XYZ event yesterday. I enjoyed briefly learning about you and your business. I'd love to schedule a time to learn more about you and your business so that I can better make connections for you.
Thank you.
Here's a link to my calendar so it's easy. Look forward to connecting with you. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not pitching anything. I'm not edifying myself. I'm fully focused on you.
Right.
What happens with that messaging is 95% of people are going to book meetings with you. The 5% is just because it's the wrong time, not because they don't care.
Yes.
And you then have permission to follow up forever.
Right.
Because I'm not selling anything. I am strictly reaching out to go, yo, brother, how can I help you?
Right.
I want to get together and talk. Matter of fact, you'll have people reply to you when you use this messaging and they'll go, dude, what's the catch? Like, what's in it for you? Nothing, bro. Let's just get together. Like, I just want to get to know you.
Right.
And then we can see if we can connect dots.
That part too, because Florida is such a sunny place for shady people that everyone's like, you got an angle. I'm like, no, I don't, dude. I just want to see.
There's no angle. Like, let's just connect.
Right.
And then we'll figure out where we can either create, collaborate. Maybe you do need my services. Maybe I need yours. Who knows? I don't know. You don't know. And I don't know who you know. I don't know what your wife or spouse does. I know nothing. So I'm just going to show up curious, and then we're going to do a connection meeting again, where I'm going to ask you questions the majority of the time.
Right.
At the very end, maybe I get a chance to talk about myself briefly.
Sure.
I'm going to make connections to you. I'm going to provide resources to you. I'm going to continue to pour and love on you as a person.
Sure.
Because what it does is it trains you and it creates relationship equity. And so at some point I can cash in on that, but I don't need to cash in on it in the very first second on the very first day. Right? Like we can cash in on that at some point when it makes sense and when there's great alignment. That's the sneaky part of this process. But it's so backwards to how most people are trained to go out there and
Here's
7
my card.
no's
Here's
and a
my
yes
card.
and all these always be closing and all this stuff. Bro, like I don't have to close anyone. People ask me to buy my
Right.
stuff.
Right. And people don't understand also is that by doing it the way that you're structuring it and the way I live it also is that you are actually closing.
All the
It's a
time.
subtle way of doing it without them even feeling it. And squad, thank you to my good friend Devin, because you just dropped knowledge nuggets that I press upon everybody out there. Like people, honestly, they don't really care what you do if you shove it down their throat. See what you can do for them, but also, Devin, be open to the reciprocation, right? Like if they want to do something for you, because there's a lot of givers out there and they don't. What I do with my coaching clients is I'll be like, see that plant over there? What do we breathe in? We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. What does the plant do? Breathes in carbon dioxide, breathes out oxygen. Does the plant have a choice? No. Why are we giving ourselves one? If you're going to give, be ready to receive as well. Do you find some of the people that you've coached or helped out within your squad that are having an issue with being reciprocated to?
It's an issue of reciprocation. It's also because they try to put numbers to it, which
Thank
is
you.
going to be a path to failure.
Right.
So
That's
I can tell
strong.
you
Wow.
with thousands and thousands of connections made,
Yeah.
it's a 30% return. Like
Right.
when you get good at it, 30% of what you give will come back. So if I make 100 connections, I'm going to get 30 back.
Love it.
And then it just becomes a game. How many connections can I make this month? Because I know if I make more, I get more back, right?
Yes.
The issue is people are asking for the wrong thing, which blocks the ability to be connected. And that alone makes you unable to receive because you think all you can receive is referrals, which means a connection to an ideal prospect, right? But when we go down that path, what happens is you put up 19 different walls, right?
Yes.
If I tell Scott, this is my perfect ideal client, you now in your head are trying to profile your contact list, find that limited amount of ideal clients, figure out if the timing's right, figuring out if you trust me enough to actually connect them to me so that I can sell to them. That is like a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
And so what we help people do is understand the bigger picture. Who has access to your clients? How do we play this game?
Right.
When you shift your ask and you start asking for the strategic partners, the vendors, the other things, there's no sale happening.
Yes.
And when that happens, you can then receive. Because then when Scott says, hey, Devin, who do you want to know? I want to know mastermind hosts because we can collectively add value to each other.
Right.
Great. You can instantly be like, oh, here's 7 mastermind hosts. I'm going to connect you with my buddy Devin. Devin, you got to meet this person. You guys are going to hit it off. Right. There's no friction. There's no tension. Right. So it's not really that they can't receive. It's that they're hoping to receive the wrong things because they don't understand the big picture.
Love it. That is everything you said was spot on truth bombs, bro. I mean, 100%. And it's funny when we kind of talk about, I do write down if I was talking to you and getting my asking gear, like seeing how I can find out how I can help you. There's problems as being a coach. There's problems that are poured out, right? So during that first conversation, when I meet them, I can ask permission to kind of talk about them to keep the conversation going. What I'm saying, because you might have said, oh man, I'm having trouble like getting up in the morning or something like that. I'd be like, I have some ideas for that, Devin. That might be stupid, but if you want to talk about it, I'd love to. It's like, that's where another people, they just go right into coaching. A lot of other coaches, like the coaches I train, I'm like, dude, we ask permission 100%. So let me ask you something. So do you work with people one-on-one or more groups, Devin?
Yeah, all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
So have a community where we can train and teach you how to do what we do. The book does it. We have videos on it. I've done with you where I'll guide you through the process. So when you fail and slip back into sales mode, I can whip you back into shape.
Yeah.
And then we have a team for you level where we go out there and do the networking for you, and we just make edified introductions that fit your goals.
That is strong, man. Like what I love about you is you're doing it for the intention, not the attention. I don't see you too much all over the place, blah, blah, look at me, I'm Devin. I obviously stocked out stuff so I can vet you out with a beautiful family and everything else, but it's like you're out there absolutely serving. You're planting trees you're probably going to never sit in the shade of with all these connections that you have, man. So when you're working with somebody, we kind of plugged how you're shining a light on their blind spot a little bit, right? When you start talking to somebody. But is there any good question that you wish that they would ask you but never do during that discovery conversation?
No, so I'll tell you how we set it up to always win.
So I love this. I got it out of them. What?
Yeah, so it's not even that I wish they'd ask me a question, because what happens is when you take control of a networking conversation or a connection meeting and you start the process, hey, where do you live? What do you do? Who do you serve? How'd you get here? Where are you going?
Yeah. Oops.
Deeper, but that if you just go back and listen to what I just said, that's how you have the conversation.
Right.
Once you ask your 80-90% of questions following the framework, they're going to come to this moment and go, hey, Devin, we might need to schedule another meeting, man. I didn't get a chance to learn about you. No worries. I'll tell you about myself. And what happens is when they give you permission in that last little snippet of time, you get to react, position, and then I call this the sell behind moment, right? So where you said you asked for permission, I just sell to the person that looks, smells, and feels like them, but sits behind them. And I go, Scott, you know what? You know what I do? I help people who are top level coaches find strategic partners that have access to more of their clients. And in doing so, we put you in rooms where none of your competition plays and you have more leverage and success. And all of a sudden you're sitting there going, okay, cool, great, that's me. Did you not just listen to me for the last 25 minutes or 55 minutes? Like, hello.
Right.
And then they're going to raise their hand and go either sell to me because they need your product or service, or they're going to go, you know what, I do know people that I can connect you with. And so it's not that I wish they'd ask me a question. I just gamify the whole thing so I can't lose. Because what happens is we train them to do exactly what we just did because it felt good. It was good. And so they're just going to ask you the same questions just in a condensed period of time. So now you get to fire little rockets at them, right? That are perfectly aligned and match exactly with what they need. And if they're ready to buy, they'll indicate. Otherwise, we're just mining for connections. And again, we're going to control what we can control. So not one time in a conversation do I wish they asked me something, because the whole time we are subconsciously training them to ask the questions we want to answer.
Love that. I love it. It's being a coach. It's different because I want them to kind of ask me what's expected of me. If I was in that kind of like a discovery combo, let's chat kind of situation as a coach, but I can see from your perspective of what you do, you are giving them the arsenal, for lack of a better term, to really sit down there and how to present it and get comfortable with it so they can really excel. So, Devin, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Yes.
Okay, it's literally just turned 40, right? And that's crazy in 1985. Anyway, so let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Devin. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on him? Not to change anything, because your journey is pretty freaking awesome, right? But to maybe help him shorten a learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker. I mean, you blasted through pretty quick, but what else might you tell him?
Yeah, I think that partnerships are a blessing and a curse. And I think that so often people rush into them blind, right? So they rush into them with this idea of like, I need to solve this problem, and a partnership's the way to do it. I fundamentally disagree. And I would tell my young self, go into joint ventures where you still own your stuff, they own their stuff, but you collaborate.
Thank you.
And then if that is amazing, then get into business together. That would have saved me probably 7 figures in pain. So that would be great. The other thing I would say is, now that I know the system works and 700 clients and myself later, I would tell my young self, like, bro, just do the system. Like, you don't need to do anything else. Here's the playbook.
Right.
Just do that as many times, as often as you can, and whatever you're chasing will blow up.
Right.
And then I would say the other kind of lesson is don't outbuild your revenue. And I think that that's something that I've done, and I know a lot of people have done, right? We're like,
what has two
you're starting
thumbs
to get
and outbuild their revenue right here.
Yeah, you're getting constrained. You're like working too much. And so you start staffing up, you start buying resources, but you got to really push your revenue up so that you're anchoring margin so you can pay yourself first. Otherwise, you end up with $1 million business making 40K. Like that's junk. No one wants that. So you got to make sure you're building strategically and really aware of that cost, especially the recurring costs of staff, services, software, things like that. So a few different nuggets, but all things I would tell my young self.
Especially to keep people as strategic alliances squad. I've talked about that before, where people want to kind of, lack of a better term, this metaphorically, get into bed with me on stuff. I'm approached a lot here in Palm Beach. They're like, oh, we can do this, this. And I'm like, what you just said, I want to own my 100%. And if it makes sense after a honeymoon period or like a strategic alliance period, that when you meet somebody, most people, they might bring their toothbrush over and leave it at the house, but they don't move in. You have that. And thank you for saying that, brother. Coming from you validates a lot of the stuff that I say, man. So, or a lot of the stuff that I've regurgitated forward from who I've been taught. I did not just say that, right? So, how does Devin want his dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date, your expiration date, man. How does Devin
I,
want his dash remember?
I love that, man. That's the YouTube video pin that I used to have pinned on my YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so literally I had a dash video up. That was the first thing on my YouTube. We just replaced it
Dude,
with our
you are
system.
my brother from another mother, bro. I
But
swear, bro.
yeah, I love that. So yeah, the dash question is my favorite question because the younger me didn't know the answer. And because I didn't know the answer, I was chasing so many things that actually didn't align with the impact I wanted to have.
Mm,
And so now the dash is exactly what you talked about, the butterfly effect, the ripple effect, whatever you want to talk about, right?
sure.
I want to have so much impact through connections that I have no clue what the impact is. When you fundamentally make a million connections, you're talking about a million people connecting with a million people doing a million amazing things. You can't fathom what that creates. And what I want when I pass away, one, let's celebrate, please. Like no one needs to
Yes.
mourn, celebrate the life. But when you celebrate, I want people to come together and be like, I don't know if he knew this, but I have no clue if he knew this, but hey, did he did this? Did you know he made that intro? Matter of fact, I'm thinking back to that business that started. Devin made that intro. Like, I want people to be sharing those stories in
Yeah.
such a positive way
Great.
that's when that aha moment clicks for a lot of people going, holy crap, like these little insignificant connections turned into monumental movements.
It's like you're living like again, I'm regurgitating for what I was taught is like the more you mentor, the more you connect, the more immortal you become. Right? It's like they'll be like, "Oh, that was Devin that put us together." Oh, hopefully, it's way down the road, but if they're at your funeral or something, be like, "That dude connected millions of us." That's I 100% see it happen. So, is there anything that people might misunderstand the most about Devin?
No,
I was gonna say you're an open
I
book,
am
bro.
yeah, I am who I am all the time. And
Yeah.
so I think that that's something that I've always been proud of is like, I
Okay.
don't have to put armor on or be someone else. Like we
Love
live who
it.
we are. Our business is built on our five values plus fun.
Mhm.
Because if we're not having fun, what the hell are we doing?
Right.
And I am the same person on stage in a podcast and at home. Nothing changes. Everything's fair game. And so I don't think people misunderstand. I am super direct and very blunt. And so
They
when you
might
work
take
for me
that
or
like,
around me, just know
yeah,
that like I'm not offending you or trying to be a
right.
dick. I just want to communicate clearly so that there's never confusion.
Thank you.
And that would be a sticking point over the years. I've even debated coaches on it where they're like, you need to have more empathy and do the
Nope, you
positive
don't.
sandwich and all this other stuff. And I go, that's great. I
Yeah.
hear you. But like when I start going down that path, I start to become something I'm not.
Yep.
And I don't want to represent that. Like, I want
Right.
people to know, like, hey, I can go to Devin because he's going to provide quick, very direct advice
Sure.
with my best interest in mind. Like,
Right.
I am here to advocate for you. If you're being an idiot, it may
Hmm.
sound harsh,
Right.
but I'm going to let you know, like, hey, you slipped up. Here's how. Here's what we need to do. Let's move forward. And so,
Right.
man, I just am who I am. Don't need to be anyone else.
Thank you for saying that because I am the exact same way. It saves time, it saves confusion by being direct. Like I guess my company had hired a fractional like CFO for us, and I did not know. Like that hired, but was bringing her in, and I kind of got that way with her, and she says, "Thank you for being direct." I'm like, "You're hired." I was like, but other people will be like, "Oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry." I'm like, then I'm actually I'm highly empathetic. I'll be like, "Listen, it's not you. It's just I want to get the message across so it's not misconstrued. So if you see me this way, we love you on our team, stuff like that." So I'm thank you for being transparent with that, brother, because a lot of people aren't because people are like, I'm ego, I'm this, I'm that. And I was that douchebag. I literally was before, and you're like, you think you're this. And then I lost it in 08 and 09 when the market crashed and it humbled me, right? So, all right. So what is your definition of a life well lived then?
Yeah, it's having massive impact, but not forgetting yourself and your family.
Love
And
it.
I think
Enough
that
said.
I think
Yeah.
that and I don't want to go down the anti-hustle culture thing, but I am anti it, not meaning I won't outwork you because I promise I will,
Mhm.
but I'm going to do it in a way where I'm protecting my own health and sanity. I'm spending ample time with my family. We're
Family.
doing the vacations. We're living today.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I just don't want people to wake up and realize that they built something and have nothing. And I
Yeah.
think that that's an important statement, right? I think you wake
Mhm.
up and you have the fancy things and a lot of cash, and then you've lost your family, your kids, your friends, your
Wow.
everything in the process. And so I think that it's important to build and have massive impact. And yes, go make a ton of money, like
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But take the time for the vacations, take the time for your family. And you don't need to apologize. I posted this. It was another podcast. I said the same thing.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Devin, I'm going to make it a point to meet up with you at some point in our lifetime, right? And I'll probably drop some of these questions. We'll talk 15 minutes on, probably longer than that on some of them. But today, you got 5 seconds with no explanations. And I promise you that they can all be answered that way. You ready to level up?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Devin, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Book more meetings.
Yeah, share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Task management diligently.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you see me maybe walking down the street or an event. I mean, like Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums. Is there any book that you picked up that really flipped that switch in your mind to get you back on track? What book might you hand me?
I would take you to coffee first because I don't know what your problem is. So I would love on you, and then I would give you a book.
Thank you, brother. Bob Berg will be like, give him my book. So, which actually, that's one book that I do give. All right. Most commonly used emoji when you text.
Probably the laughing, because if we're not having fun, why are we doing it?
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Mom called me Pumpkin, Dumbo because I got big ears.
I love it, dude. You are so transparent. I freaking love you, bro. All right. Any hidden talent or superpower that you have that nobody knows about until now?
Yeah, I try to be a good golfer. I'm not. I just spend a lot of time in the sagebrush. Other than that, man, I'm a really quick reader. I'm a really good writer. Both skills that I use day to day.
Nice. I'm gonna break my own rule here, but I'm gonna send you my Shipsticks voucher next winter when it's cold. I'm gonna get you down here, get you on some stages, brother, and then we can go out and play some pretty solid courses, baby. Love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
Excellent. Headline for your life?
The Connector.
Yeah. Go-to ice cream flavor?
I love all of it. I'm a sweet jump.
Me too, bro. So there's a sandwich called the Dumbo Pumpkin. Build that for me. What are we eating?
Oh man, it's gonna be like a quadruple pastrami, probably with some
My
pickles,
guy,
mustard.
dude. Yeah. Love it. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time and or money to?
I split my kind of passion to either young entrepreneurship initiatives or organizations that support people with special needs.
Beautiful. Last question. Best decade of music, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I mean 90s because that was my music.
Gotcha. No, I love it, man. I love the garage band days of the 90s, like Blink and some, and then you also had the Nirvana, the grunge as well, dude. It was a great decade. I graduated in 1990 from high school, so I kind of love that kind of big hair, don't care kind of revolutionary time. But I was in the Iraq for most of the 90s. So absolutely. So Devin, how can we find you, brother?
Yeah, devinsizemore.com, name's on the screen. You can go to connectionexpansion.com to learn more about our community, or you can grab the book on Amazon, Connection Expansion.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the book because I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a 5-book giveaway to the first person or the first 5 people that put pumpkin into anything. I don't care if it's Pinterest, Instagram. Text it to 561-440-3830. And if you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube, I have the book up here on the screen. So we got the Kindle, hardcover, paperback. Tell us a little bit about what's in here. You said before they didn't really leave too much out. So tell us what we can expect when we pick up this book.
Yeah, so the full connection expansion system is in the book. So everything from how you change your ask to how you approach networking, how you follow up, how you conduct the connection meeting, how you follow up from the meeting, how you nurture long-term tips and tricks for task management. And it's pretty much everything. And everything that's not in there is either on the website for free or inside of ACES for free as well.
Gotcha. I love it. And again, Squad, the first 5 people that put pumpkin or Dumbo into anything, I'm time to shine today's dime. I'm going to get you the book out 100%. And I'm probably going to ask for actually a signed one myself. So, but Squad Devin, do me one last favor and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Yeah, I always talk about the power of one. This doesn't need to be an overwhelming process. All you need to have is one meeting where you change the script, ask good questions, follow up, and make connections. If you make 3 connections from one meeting, one person will raise their hand. That will exponentially grow to the power of 3. And so it only takes one person to start this process. And if you do your part, the rest will work.
You have the $1 Million Author as well, correct? Which I definitely want to touch on that. Tell us a little bit about the $1 Million Author.
Yeah, as a $1 million author, we help people write, publish, and promote books that make them more money. We're really specific in the lane we play. We want to work with people who want to use a book to book more stages, book more podcasts, or make more money. It has to be a persuasive book, has to be easy to read, has to be high value. And so I'm a customer. I've worked with the company, inside the company, around the company, and I can't advocate enough. It's probably the one thing, if I could go back and do it for all my other companies, I would have wrote a book sooner because it opens up amazing
We're
opportunity.
talking off mic about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it elevates you so quick. Like I book stages now, it's not even a question. Like it's literally like, oh, I saw you spoke at this event. I grabbed a copy of your book. Can you talk about that on stage? Yes.
Right. Love that. I love it. And,
like cool.
it comes to you like 100%. My agent is like, Angela, yes, I'm giving you a shout out, Angela, because you're up me every day about this. It's like, get the book out because there's so much that I'm missing out on. Not just income, but people need to hear a little bit about my story. I've told it on other podcasts, but I incorporate the story into the hero parable, right? And it's a little bit unique compared to a lot of other human beings on this earth, for sure. And squad, I had a fantastic interview. I'm sorry for any of the technical glitches that you might have heard, but my guy here, Devin, came out of the womb hustling. He found out that, hey, if you can add how critical it is to add value to others. He became a problem solver. Like I talk to my coaching clients out there, challenges are not just challenges, they are opportunities for you to solve problems for people. So what I do, and I know Devin does, I can just picture him when he's networking with somebody. He listens not only with his ears, but his eyes, everything. He's listening with his, what I call listening with your neck. He's leaning in and really finding out the family, occupation, recreation, dreams, what you need. And he's going to be a relationship architect, or what I like to coin myself, a relationship creator, and put the two together, not expecting anything, but at the same time, expecting something. It just might not come directly from that, because the more that you are putting out the gratitude, the more that you're giving, squad, it activates the reticular activating system to actually bring more of that to you. And his obsession with building relationships was on full display. Again, I've said it before. He's planting trees he's never going to sit in the shade of. He does things for the intention, not the attention. He wants to remind you that, listen, if you're young about get into a business with your best friend or something like that, stop, drop, and roll. Let's hold it. Bring what you have to the table. Do your own thing. And if there's a strategic alliance that leads to a business, find out first before that friendship goes south. Okay. The one meeting can make a difference. What Devin had said, one meeting can lead to 3 people, and then it's the power of it. I mean, my guy here is the architect of putting relationships together. I'm blessed to know him. And Devin, you level up your health, you level up your wealth. You're humble, yet you're hungry. You're a handsome devil. Thank you so much for coming on. You earned your varsity letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. I absolutely love your guts.
Scott, appreciate you, man. It's such a good conversation, and I'm confident we're going to do a lot of amazing things and add value to each other's worlds.
Absolutely. See you, buddy. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today, proudly brought to you by Inlet Properties and Investments. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on the Time to Shine Today podcast, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you'd like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also, there you will see our recommended resources. We hope you will help support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have been listening to, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's your time to shine.